All right, y'all. So yeah, man. Looks like Casey O'Neill's got a target on her back, man. I mean, just seems like everybody wants to crack at Casey O'Neill right now. Everybody from the newcomers to the veterans, man. Every time I'm looking on some WMMA news, somebody's calling out Casey O'Neill. And my question is, why? Why really, man? Like, do they see her as this big threat, or do they see her as an easy step? And I kind of lean towards the later here because when you look at it, all right, fighters like Lauren Murphy have called her out, Wang Tong has called her out, and sometimes I think fighters they just see certain opponents or potential opponents as like stepping stones, and for a fighter like Lauren Murphy, who, as y'all know, a little while back, she had said that she was going to be retiring soon, so she wanted one last fight, and she named two people. Lauren Murphy said she wanted to fight Priscilla Cachoeira or Casey O'Neill. When I look at that, I'm like, okay, well, Casey O'Neill is newer and fresher and ranked, but you want to fight somebody like her, and you also mentioned Priscilla Cachoeira in the same breath. So I'm like, dang, like, do you see like the skill gap between these two is close? Well, once you think about it, Casey O'Neill, um, Lauren Murphy, a little while back, when Casey O'Neill was brought up to her, she did say something like, I think she talks better than she fights. When I heard that, I was like, wow, that is fighting words right there. I know Casey O'Neill didn't really respond to it, but it just seems like Lauren Murphy's kind of, had it in for Casey O'Neill a little bit. Like maybe not had it in like she has beef with her, but maybe she just been watching and saying, okay, like this girl right here, this is somebody I like to fight, you know. Then you got Wang Tong. Of course, Wang Tong, y'all seen her knockout from this past weekend. It's highlight reel worthy. Even if that's the last knockout she scores in the UFC, it was a good knockout. It was classic, right? But Wang Tong, she's still hungry. Wang Tong said, "Hey, I want to come back as soon as possible. I want to come back on the main card, and I want to fight Casey O'Neill." So yeah, everybody's been calling out Casey O'Neill, and I know a little while back, which this fight makes sense. Miranda Maverick did call out Casey O'Neill as well when she was looking for an opponent, because at the time Casey O'Neill she wasn't even scheduled to fight Luana Santos. So Casey was open, and Miranda had just beaten somebody, I think like Andrea Lee, and she was ready to come back and fight, so she had named her, which makes sense, right? Because she wanted to get ranked. But yeah, just with some of these other fighters, I hear everybody calling out Casey O'Neill, and I was just asking like, why, and I think at this point, I think some people just see her as like kind of like an easy target. She's right there, at the bottom, at the edge of the top 15, and top 15 is kind of like that revolving door. So for somebody like Wang Tong, she would call out that name, because she sees that as a chess move. Wang Tong wants to play chess and she wants to get ranked as soon as possible, now because she's feeling herself, after knocking somebody out and still being hungry. She wants to take on who's ever's closest to her, right? Um, so it makes sense that she would make that call out. Now, my thoughts, yeah, it is a doable fight, like I said before. But Casey O'Neill, she still does have a higher level of experience. She still has a higher level of experience. So, I would still think that fighters would kind of respect that. But it's almost like they just see, a couple of kinks in her armor. It's like they see a few kinks in her armor that they can overcome because they're always targeting her, right? It seems like they're just targeting her. But, you know, um, when you think about it, it's just like me. Like when I'm critiquing fighters or, analyzing fighters, if I see something, these other fighters see something, right? You know, um, that's what I've been saying. Like, there's no hate towards Casey O'Neill. Like, I don't dislike Casey O'Neill. It's nothing about her style. I think as far as what she brings to the table, she is another, tough fighter that likes to put on shows. She hasn't really been in a bad fight. So to me, I still think that Casey O'Neill has something to offer. She's still young, so she can still be molded. So I don't think like Casey O'Neill at all is a bad fighter, but the things that I've been seeing, of course, other fighters are going to see and other trainers are going to see. That's why when they do see particular style, they probably are like, oh yeah, I got this. This girl number 14, 13. Let me get that spot. Versus some other fighters in the rankings, right? Because you can hear other people calling these other fighters out, right? Which draws me back to, Lauren Murphy. Like Lauren Murphy coming up on in her career, if she's calling out somebody like Cachoeira, who is known to be one-dimensional, and she's putting Casey O'Neill in that same category, I guess Lauren Murphy sees something in her that's easy to handle at this point, right? Because let's be real, when these fighters that are close to retiring, they want to go out with a W, and they want to take on a style that's not going to be too difficult or dangerous to their health, right? I've seen it hundreds of times in boxing, right? Everybody kind of goes out like that, and I think Lauren Murphy wants that too. That's why she was like, let me get Zombie Girl or Casey O'Neill at best, right? So again, going back to Casey O'Neill, this is letting us see that, yeah, maybe there are some things that Casey O'Neill has to really tighten up on, right? So I'm not trying to bash her as a fighter. I'm just saying, like, there's certain things that if I see, other fighters will see, and they will start licking their chops, feeling like, hey, I got this. Let me go ahead and get this person, right? So, yeah, for Casey O'Neill, seeing as she does kind of have this target on her back at number 15, being ranked and being called out this many times, it's important, man. That's why I'm saying it's important to evolve as a fighter. And that's all I've been saying. Like, when you bring a certain style to the table that has this many holes in it, you have to start learning from it and watching tapes. I remember I heard what she said in her last interview. Like, I like to hit people, but I like to get hit too. Like, that's not a good mentality to have, because you're not going to have longevity in the game if you continue to get pieced up like that, or if you have that mindset. So I think when other fighters hear that, they're like, oh yeah, like, oh, she likes to get hit. Well, I'm gonna knock her out. So that's Wayne Tong's mentality. So imagine Casey O'Neill taking on somebody like Wayne Tong. Okay, she might be better on the ground, have better cardio, but better ground game, better cardio, more volume. But if you got somebody like Wayne Tong who has better timing and she's setting shots up, all it takes is one punch, right? If you got somebody that's well-rounded and experienced like Lauren Murphy, she could come in and do work on her as well, So yeah, I think things like that kind of are the reason. Those are the reasons why I think a lot of people call out Casey O'Neill. They kind of see her as an easy target. For her though, I think she just needs to see this as an opportunity to grow, mentally. Like, when people call you out, you just got to prove them wrong. Shoot, when I was feeling like Alexa Grasso wasn't going to win the belt, shoot, she proved me and many doubters wrong, right? Like, she got this new hunger in her, and she was just on her game. She was just on her game to get in there and do what she needed to do. And the improvements were like, oh man, like from Alexa Grasso 125 versus Alexa Grasso 115, almost like two different people mentally, of course, as far as technically, but mentally, yeah. So, yeah, Casey O'Neill, I think she just has to put in that work and, not try to make herself like a crowd pleaser, but she's got to turn into more of a boogie woman, and that's something I might talk about in another video. Like, people always think like the people like Zombie Girl, the people that put on shows, those are the dangerous people. Like Andrade, sometimes, like Andrade is, yeah, heck of dangerous. She is dangerous, but there's a blueprint to those fighters, right? But those ones that are considered like boogie women or boogie men, they have like a particular style that can just like shut somebody down and make them look bad. That's like a different realm. And that's why I think people target Casey O'Neill more. Like, they see her as that fighter. Oh, okay, I can figure that out. Because why is Wang Tong not calling out the winner of Lipsky Jasmine? Why is she not calling out Karine Silva or somebody higher like Caitlin Chikagan, who, is seen better days, but she has no opponent right now, right? Why is she calling out any of those names? Miranda Maverick, on the cusp of it, 150, 125, at the bottom of the rankings at 15, number 15 or below that. Why is she not calling out names like that? Why is it Casey O'Neill, right? So maybe it's just a chess move to get ranked, but I just noticed that a lot of people call Casey O'Neill's name. Again, Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy calling her. Why is Lauren Murphy not rescheduling with Karine Silva? Think about that, because That was the original fight for Lauren Murphy a little while back, right? Lauren Murphy, Kareem Silva, they were on the same card, I believe, as Chikagan and Barber, back in the spring. And since she's coming back for one more fight, why wouldn't you want to fight that fight? Why Zombie Girl and the ranked fighter Casey O'Neill? Why not Kareem? So you do the math. So when you look at it, that's kind of what it is for Casey O'Neill. I think people kind of see her as like easy pickings to get ranked or build their last W off of. So it's on her. If she listens to this stuff, from these other fighters, just take that as an incentive to get better. Because there's things that Casey O'Neill has to work on, but being young and being hungry the way she is, she should be able to humble herself and figure it out and build off of it. So yeah, let me know, guys, what y'all think. Hit that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.